Welcome to What Would You Choose? Your daily dose of fun choices. Hedgehog versus squirrel. Which one has spines? The answer is hedgehog. Neuschwanstein Castle versus Statue of Liberty. Which one is in the USA? The answer is Statue of Liberty. Avocado versus banana. Which one has a large seed inside? The answer is avocado. Penguin versus eagle. Which one cannot fly? The answer is penguin. Bora Bora versus Sahara. Desert, which one is a desert? The answer is Sahara Desert. Coconut versus grapes. Which one grows on a palm tree? The answer is coconut. Otter versus squirrel. Which one lives mostly in water? The answer is otter. Grand Canyon versus Osaka Castle. Which one is in Japan? The answer is Osaka Castle. Pineapple versus strawberry. Which one has spiky skin? The answer is pineapple. Blue whale versus horse. Which one is the largest animal? The answer is blue whale. Mount Everest versus Bondi Beach. Which one is the tallest mountain? The answer is Mount Everest. Corn versus carrot. Which one grows underground? The answer is carrot. Python versus lizard. Which one has no legs? The answer is python. Colosseum versus Santorini. Which one is in Greece? The answer is Santorini. Cucumber versus bell pepper. Which one is long and green? The answer is cucumber. Hummingbird versus swan. Which one can hover in the air? The answer is hummingbird. Fiji versus Matterhorn. Which one is an island country? The answer is Fiji. Mango versus green. Apple, which one has a pit inside? The answer is mango. Panda versus kangaroo. Which one is native to China? The answer is panda. Himeji Castle versus Gobi Desert. Which one is a desert? The answer is Gobi Desert. Pretzel versus bagel. Which one usually has a hole in the middle? The answer is bagel. Octopus versus squid. Which one has a rounder head? The answer is octopus. Yellowstone versus Maldives. Which one is a national park? The answer is Yellowstone. Kiwi versus lemon. Which one has fuzzy skin? The answer is kiwi. Bactrian camel versus zebra. Which one has 2 humps? The answer is Bactrian camel. Copacabana Beach versus Mount Fuji. Which one is in Brazil? The answer is Copacabana Beach. Salad versus pizza. Which one is usually eaten cold? The answer is salad. Tortoise versus crocodile. Which one lives mostly on land? The answer is tortoise. Edinburgh Castle versus Mojave Desert. Which one is in Scotland? The answer is Edinburgh Castle. Peanut versus kidney bean. Which one is a legume often eaten roasted? The answer is peanut. Flamingo versus owl. Which one is pink? The answer is flamingo. Seychelles versus Niagara Falls. Which one is a group of islands? The answer is Seychelles. Sandwich versus hot dog. Which one usually has sliced bread? The answer is sandwich. Leopard versus tiger. Which one has rosette-shaped spots? The answer is leopard. Mount Denali versus Jeju Island. Which one is in Alaska? The answer is Mount Denali. Lettuce versus broccoli. Which one has florets? The answer is broccoli. Mountain goat versus deer. Which one has curved horns? The answer is mountain goat. Wembley Stadium versus Windsor Castle. Which one is mainly for sports? The answer is Wembley Stadium. Milkshake versus cappuccino. Which one is usually served cold? The answer is milkshake. Rabbit versus raccoon. Which one is known for long ears? The answer is rabbit. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe Sindal Kids for more Would You Rather quizzes likes that.